Why did I have to push the button?
To start the recording?
No, it let me know that it was recording, and I was like, why do I have to say got it? But anyway, we are in the game, and we are excited. But before we tell you why we are so very excited, let's introduce ourselves. I am Jamaica Jones Carter, and this is
Sherry Irving.
And I call her Cherry Pop, but you can't call her that, okay? Together, we are the Blacker the Team.
Yeah.
We are so excited. So, Cherry, you want to tell the people about what we're doing?
So, Blacker the Tea is a new podcast that, again, we're super excited about. And what we're going to do on this platform is review some of the most trendy, hottest Black TV shows, and we're going to throw in some movies and maybe some documentaries in there on our down season from the TV shows, but definitely review those TV shows that you guys are wanting for, looking for, excited for to watch every week, and we're excited to bring the tea to you guys.
And another important concept of our show is each week we will be sipping our favorite herbal tea of the week. So we will be sipping our tea and sharing with you all what we are sipping so that you can go be great too, okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's get this thing started, all right? So what are you drinking tonight, Cher?
So tonight I'm drinking a good old mint tea. So guys, this is like one of my go-to teas. So everybody that knows me knows that I love tea, guys. I love drinking tea. I love making my own teas. I love finding herbs and mixing them together to make really good, tasty, healthy teas. And I drink tea for a purpose. So I don't just grab a tea because it tastes good. I want it to do something for my body. And you guys will get to know that part of me later. So you guys get to know me, but I love a good mint tea. This mint tea is spearmint, peppermint, and lemongrass. And I usually drink mint tea early in the mornings. It helps promote your digestive system, kind of get you started. If you're experiencing like any headaches or anything, mint tea helps to soothe those headaches. So mint tea has such great benefits to them, and it's just my go-to tea. So I always have it handy, and you can mix mint tea when you're making drinks. So if you're making a good summer drink, since it's the summertime now, throw a little bag of mint tea in there and it gives that little minty flavor if you don't have the fresh mint on hand. Okay. All right. What you drinking?
Yes, ma'am. I love the summer tip. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Tonight I am drinking a tea that's called Lavender Dream. And it's really calming and soothing. And unfortunately, I do not have the specifics of what's in it. I bought it at a vegan festival, and it smells delicious. It tastes delicious. It does knock me out, which isn't good because I have to do my hair when I get off from here. So we shall see. But absolutely love the tea. It's from the I don't even have it in front of me, but I'm gonna shoot from the hip. It's from the 901 Tea Bar, or Tea Bar 901.
Okay.
The other. That's where it's from. I love shopping black. If you have a natural tea brand, hit us up because we're doing this once a week.
Yes, and we will promote your tea company. So get at us, drop your link below, however it is that you need to. We'll put our information down below so that you guys can send us stuff. We definitely want to try you guys out and sponsor, your tea company, or promote your tea company, and drink your tea while on the show. So your lavender tea is good, Meek?
It's real good. Now, it's a bit watered down, all my fault, because I was doing too much. But typically when it's not watered down, it's absolutely delicious. It's still good. Now, I just wish I added more herbs to it. But it's cool. So,
No, I was going to tell you, like your lavender tea, when you said that it makes you sleep, lavender absolutely puts you to sleep. whether you drink it or rub it on your body. It puts you to sleep. The other thing that it does for you ladies is that it reduces menstrual cramps. So if it's that time of the month and you're suffering some cramps and you need a good tea, a lot of people drink tea around that time, grab you some lavender tea. It helps.
Absolutely.
Except for me.
I love the tips that Cherry has because, I mean, she doesn't only talk about it, she be about it. She does have a natural skincare company that she co-owns with another beautiful Black woman. And so check them out. Shout yourself out, Cherry.
I sure will. So I am co-owner of Meek Natural Beauty. So Meek Natural Beauty is an all-natural hair care and skincare company. All of our products are handmade, made to order, and it is just amazing, guys. So all of those little tips that I throw in there about herbs, we use all types of herbs and organic essential oils and all of those things to make your skin look really good. Guys, see my skin. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So
everything. Do everything that Cherry does in life. I mean,
make your skin look really good, smell good, hair growth, all of those things. And so we are very big on offering it to the community, right? Especially our community where we're getting those products that are healthy and full with things that are going to make your body feel good, right? Just not feel good, but do good, right? Do well. And so we want to offer that, not to just smell good on the outside or look good, but that is actually putting things in your body that's going to keep you healthy. So what you put on the outside of your body is just important as what you put on the inside of your body. We believe that at Meek Natural Beauty. So check us out at meeknaturalbeauty.com. And I'm going to shout out my amazing, beautiful sister partner, Jessica. Hey, Jess.
I like this. Yes.
So, I got to tell them a little bit about me. So you guys, Mika is a guru in her own sense, and she does all things knowledge, right? All things wisdom. So Mika, shout out your company.
Yes, I have my own life coaching practice, Jamaica Jones Jamaica Jones Carter. Life coaching and mentoring. And I am dedicated to helping women navigate the challenges of their relationships so they can reach their goals. And why do I do that? Because if you cannot relate to other people, whether that's your spouse, your children, your people at your job, strangers, people who have opportunities, you can't get anywhere in life. So I help you kind of break down your barriers in relating to other people and come up with a plan to get past them and get to your goals. So we get to business. I also do a little public speaking, and I also offer group coaching. I do have a self-care, self-reflection journal, the See Yourself. Yes, and I feel like it's helpful to anybody in any phase of your journey because it really just helps you reassess, who am I right now? Because who I am right now is not who I was in January.
Yeah.
Who I am right now? What do I need to thrive right now? What do I need to remove from my toolbox that I once used all the time? What do I need to replace it with? So my toolkit really just helps you do that. And I offer coaching to support you working through the toolkit, or you can do it individually. So whatever your need is, just reach out to me. Even if I'm not the fit for you, I will refer you because that's what we do. We support each other, okay?
I love it. Guys, I have access to this every day. So I'm telling you, it's worth it.
All right, let's get to business. So Terry and I have been friends since about 2005, or was it 2004?
2005.
We met in college, and we have been tight since the beginning. I think we were kind of unlikely friends because I remember I used to try to hug Cherry all the time. She'd be like, "We don't hug. I don't do that." Everybody likes my hug. But when we meshed really well, and there have always been, since we left college, miles and miles in between us. You know, Cherry has done a lot of traveling and stuff, and I've been in Nashville and then back here in Memphis. but we have always been able to connect via phone, and we have always been able to connect through, girl, what you watch? Well, wait a minute, let me catch up, and then I'm gonna talk to you on Thursday, and then we're gonna talk about it together. And that just became one of the other aspects of our friendship because we weren't together every day. So, you know, one day we were talking, and it's so comforting for us to have these conversations with each other because we go so deep when we get to talking about TV shows and movies. We think about other aspects that other people may not speak about, and we thought it would be amazing to share with you all and to also get your input.
I agree. And so with doing that, we came up with the Black Ear and Tea. And so we just infused our love for tea and our conversations in the morning on our way to work, and all of that into one, and bringing it to you guys to share it with you all. Just a little glimpse into our friendship. So Mika, you want to get started or tell them about the first show that we're going to talk about?
Okay, so we are getting started during an interesting time in television, because when we first started talking about this, it was nothing on. We was like, hey, how are we going to start? What are we going to do? And one thing we did not mention is we are, for now, only doing Black shows. Hopefully forever, but you know, we might have to fill in and stuff, but we want to shine some light on and represent and draw some attention to Black shows. Not to say that other shows aren't great, but they get the limelight, they get the opportunity. We want to do the same for our Black brothers and sisters. So the first show that we decided to recap, talk about how we're not the typical recap or review podcast, but the first show we wanted to talk about is Run the World. So Run the World is a show on Amazon Prime. And you want to help me introduce the show? I'm not good at this.
Yeah, I'll introduce it. So actually Run the World is, it debuted on Stars. And so Run the World is a Stars show.
See, I done told y'all, listen to Cherry. She's going with 0 fat percentage with the clear skin. Listen to Cherry.
So it is a Star show, guys. An amazing show. And it's, I think what interested us in this show is that it's a show based on Black women. It's a show based on friendship. They are a tad bit younger than us, right, by a couple of years, but definitely we've been there and not too long ago, right? And so we've been their age and not too long ago. And so the dynamic of the friendship, the Black friendship, has been traditionally really good shows, especially for us as Black women to watch and kind of relate and laugh and cry and have that representation of us, or have the representation of our girlfriend or our sister or whatever, and we can watch that every week. And so we were really excited about reviewing this show and the fact that the show was coming on and it was something new and exciting. So the show was created by Leigh Davenport, and it's interesting because Yvette Lee, is her name Bauer or Browser? Bauer? I think Bauer. So she's the same lady. She's the showrunner from the show, and she is the same lady who I think she created Living Single.
Okay, she's amazing then.
Yep, she created Living Single, and I think she also created Half and Half. I think that's the same person. So she has a history of bringing these already fantastic shows. So when I saw her name, I was like, oh, this is gonna be good, right? This is something to watch out for. And so from what I've researched, it seems like the show is very much based off Leigh Davenport's. I can assume, because she's from Harlem, so it's probably loosely based off her at 30, 20, late 20s in Harlem, going through navigating her life and relationships and career and all of that stuff, infused with Yvette's dynamic, right? Ability to create these Black friendships that seem so realistic and so true and genuine to us on TV. And so when we heard about it, I was super excited about it. And so that is Run the World.
All right. And so Run the World is, like she said, a show about 4 Black women in their very, well, early to mid, maybe 30s. We're trying to figure out their exact age. I feel like Cherry is their exact age, but hey, she
They're like
doesn't.
31, 32 years old.
But the show follows Whitney, Ella, Renee, and Sonny on their respective journeys. So from the outside looking in, like when the show first comes on, it's a group of friends having what looks like a girls' night out. And like just enjoying themselves. And I feel like when I was watching that initial scene of them like just drinking and dancing, it kind of reminded me of the time when I wasn't married, didn't have children, kind of in Nashville with my group of friends and just kind of letting loose. And so it did seem really nice and carefree to kind of see them have that moment. And as the show progressed, to me, it looked like they all had completely different lives. Like neither one of their lifestyles mimicked the other. What do you think, Cherry?
I think so. It looks like almost like they're all on the same journey, like we are, right? We're all on the same journey, trying to achieve some of the same things, especially as Black women, right? We have some of the same goals, aspirations, but of course, we are all taking different paths, right? Based on our personalities, our upbringing, the things that we've experienced over time. And so, yeah, I get that, Mika, that it seems like they're interconnected with each other, but are kind of going different routes of getting to the same exact goal. Absolutely.
Exactly. So from watching the show, I will start by saying the first episode of any show is the most difficult one to me. When you're starting a new show and you're trying to introduce viewers to brand new characters, you're trying to give them enough to be excited about, especially this is just 24 minutes of content. So it has to be quick and powerful. The show kind of starts with the girls all together, and then you kind of check in on each woman the next morning after their gathering, like such and such is doing this. And so throughout this, we see that Sunday, who's in college, she seems to live with her significant other, and there's a child involved. Okay, so with Sunday's situation from Jump Street, could you tell that she was more of like a step parent, or that wasn't her daughter, or did you assume that was her daughter?
I did not, because of Sandy's introduction by herself was a whole sex scene, guys. And then the baby knocked on the door, interrupted them. I say baby, but the girl has to be like 6 or 7. Interrupted them, and then they come into the kitchen and they're talking. And through that interaction, I could tell that she wasn't the real mom. I also could tell that they weren't married. So I'm like, oh, okay, this is one of these situations. But that situation got a little bit messier once we found out that they were just more than boyfriend and girlfriend.
I have so many words. I realized that wasn't her daughter when the girl knocked on the door and said that. Because they don't care what we doing. It's gonna be mama, mama, mama.
That's good. I didn't even realize that. I didn't recognize that.
I just have so much to say about that situation.
Say it, me. This is the time.
But I mean, do we go all the way into Sunday, or do we need to go back to the introductions of the other women and come back once we get further into the story of the episode? Which one?
We're here. Let's just do it. It doesn't have to go in order. Let's just do it.
My thing about her is Okay, so apparently she's dating her professor.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't even know if they go into detail on this first episode, but you would assume she's a PhD student.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a professor, so there is a conflict. When she goes to his talk, he introduces her as one of his students. So it's like maybe he's her chairman, or like he has some control.
He's her advisor. Uh-huh.
I feel like she's reckless. Reckless to not only be with him, but to parade herself in front of him, in front of other people. Like she's almost playing the game. Like, okay, you're dating a professor. You need to be as low key and scarce as possible. You don't have to show up every time he has a talk to interrupt from the back of the room so you can be introduced. And I just felt like that was a little bit extra. Was I feeling too much? Was I too much in my feelings?
No. So when I found out that he was her advisor on her dissertation, she's a PhD student in African American, some type of African American studies. I don't know specifically what. And so that is completely inappropriate, right? So me and Mika were having this conversation before, and I told her that I had a conversation with my brother, who's also a PhD student in some type of African American studies. And I asked him his opinion about that. And he was like, no, that is not a thing. He was like, that is like you, that's completely reckless and is inappropriate, is a conflict of interest. All the quick pro quo things that could be thrown in there is just completely inappropriate relationship. So like you, I was kind of disturbed when she showed up at his talk. Now, had it been something where it was her other colleagues in her class, they all were going there because it maybe have been his first talk on the paper, and it was one of those things where she went with the other people in her class, okay, but she went as his girlfriend.
And she always does it. She mentioned, it was like, how many times can you listen to him read the same? Like he wrote a book. I love that already.
So she went as his girlfriend. And the other thing is she went as his girlfriend, but she was introduced as his student. Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm. And so for me, that's very telling, right? And I understand that they need to be discreet, or they should be discreet in that situation. I don't think that should be a situation. Personally, for me, that's a little risque for me. But to each his own, right? People fall in love and meet people and do things, but it's very telling to me when you're out in public with a man, right? And you have to show up. You're showing up as one thing, but you're being introduced as something different.
Yeah, but I don't think he introduced her as something different to be disrespectful to her.
No.
Just like it could easily get back. Well, I thought that was his, so I just feel like I understand where the show was coming from and implementing this, because I mean, it's been done before, but it makes for a good show. I just don't like it when shows do stuff that's absolutely ridiculous. Like when therapists end up being intimate with their clients or professors with their, it's just like nowhere in the world would this be okay and you still have your standard of living and you still be okay. So can we think of more realistic scenarios? Like her just being a struggling college student that he fell in love with, and she's slick helping him raise his child, is good enough for me, but
for him to be her advisor, her head advisor. But I think that this may happen more than we think, right? And so it's not highlighted unless somebody gets caught, and then it's in the news and in the school paper, right? And so I'm sure that this happens more often than not. Now, does it happen to the extent where you moved in and now you're playing stepmom and you're taking this child to ballet classes and you're making decisions. And so let's kind of go there about this relationship that they have, right? So it's not just I'm sleeping with you and I'm over your house, but literally, right? You're in this man's house. He's leaving you there. You're responsible to take his daughter to ballet classes. You're making decisions to unenroll her from this school, right? And then you guys get into an argument about her place, right? This is not her place. It's not her place to have made that decision to give the little girl. So the daughter, her professors, and what is his name? His name is fleeting me, guys.
I'm about to say my computer went out as soon as you said what's his name. What's this man's name? I know it.
Mm-hmm.
What is Matthew?
That's his name?
I think so.
Are you giving him a name?
You know, I get somebody. Yes, his name is Matthew. Thank you.
Yes.
You gonna learn to trust in me.
So his name is Matthew, and he's played by Stephen Bishop. The actor Stephen Bishop, which he's well known. And so Matthew's daughter is about 6 or 7, and she's enrolled in his ballet school. And we see Sandy go to the ballet school, right? Drop her off, interact with this Black lady and this Asian lady who have very fair-skinned mixed children. And it seems like the whole class is white, right? White kids. And so her being a part of Sandy's personality is that she's extremely pro-Black, and she doesn't have any kind of filter when it comes about speaking about being pro-Black and standing up for things that people may do offensive. And we all know those type of people, right? They mean well in their heart, right? They're really telling the truth. Sometimes it could come off a little harsh, right? In certain environments, because they're allowing their feelings to get ahead of what's logic, right? And so she, and in this situation, I agree, right? I agree. She went to the school, saw the class. She had given the little girl some brown ballet shoes, which I think was extremely important, right? Significant for the little girl, but she's 6. And so she wanted to wear her pink shoes because everybody else had their pink shoes on. And so when she asked her about it, the little girl just made an excuse, and I left them at home. And then we see her go into the office and turn in the tuition. The white office administrator automatically assumes, since she paid her tuition late, that the girl was underprivileged. And so we've all experienced that, right? Because she's Black, mom is a little late coming in to pay the tuition, then she must be underprivileged. And so I understand the anger behind that, right? Because we get the notion behind that. We've all kind of experienced that before. And if you haven't, praise God, I'm glad that you haven't, but that is common. And then she starts to give her this packet on nutrition. And she made a statement where the little girl is really good at ballet, but we want to prevent her from developing the kind of barriers that block Black girls from becoming the best that they can based off the way that their natural body is. And she was like, oh no, give me the check back. And she walked out and took the little girl with her. Well, then that caused an argument, right? Between the dad and between Matthew and Sandy. Go ahead, Mika, I'm sorry.
I'll point out one thing before you even get to that.
Mm-hmm.
What she did when she first showed up should have halted her from responding the way she did with the teacher. When she first showed up and the women were introducing themselves, she felt the need to explain a whole life story. Well, I'm not her mom, I'm her dad's girlfriend, and I just helped raise her since she was 4.
Mm-hmm. But I also maintain my own apartment because we're not married.
Why are you telling them all that? It's like she has a certain level of insecurity there. And if that's the case, I'm not mama.
Right.
It's like, you made it clear to these folks that this ain't your child. Because I wouldn't have said nothing if they would have assumed I was her mother. it's not your business, but the fact that you went through all that, but then to make a crass decision,
Mm-hmm.
if you're her mother,
Mm-hmm.
just 7 minutes later, or how many ever minutes. But
Yep.
go ahead.
No, but that's good because that goes back to the whole sitting in every time he goes to have a talk about his paper that he wrote, right? And you're showing up at his girlfriend, but you can't be introduced as his girlfriend, right? And so all of that falls in line with that, right? Because you're kind of like dead wrong in this relationship a little bit. So she pulls the little girl out, and then toward the end of the episode, this causes some conflict between them where he tells her that she needs to grow up. Like everything isn't a fight for black power, right? Everything is like, she's 6 years old and she wanted to wear these pink ballet shoes, and this is what's happening, and it's not that big of a deal because the lessons are only temporary, right? He's thinking that the lessons are only temporary, and she's trying to say that, you know, they are going to give her a complex, really, right? About her being black, about her being maybe being shaped a certain way when she gets older, and she doesn't want her to have that complex. So I understand her point of view as a mom, right? But then she's not her mom. Because as a mom, I probably would have acted the same way. I would have acted the same way because as women, we know what that looks like once we get older, but you're not her mom. And so that's
a mumbling word. I would have said what I need to say to him, but you know,
that's it.
And I feel like this is the first episode, but I really don't feel good about him. I feel like even if she's in this relationship consensually, she's a grown woman, but he does have a certain power over her. And then anytime that you are assisting in raising a child that's not your own, that puts you in an awkward and weird situation. So on top of her academic career being in his hands, I'm putting you in a very awkward situation because I want you to play mom as much as I want you to play mom. I want you to play my wife just as much as it feels very much so one-sided, but hey, this is episode 1.
Right? Yeah.
All right, so let's see. So we see Miss Ella gets waking up out of her sleep after they kick it. Miss Ella gets woken up out of her sleep by Miss Renee. Call, hey girl, hey, it's time to get up. So apparently, this is Ella's first day at work. Ella wasn't checking for no first. She ain't have no clothes laid out. She ain't have no breakfast. Like, no. Ella had on one shoe. Did you check?
I did. Ella said, look, I don't care about this job. Ella was out of control. So you're going to give them a little background on Ella and why she ended up back at this job.
So from the first episode, I don't want to give too much. I think from the first episode, she's back at this job because she tried to branch out and do a manuscript or a book or something on her own, and it was unsuccessful. So she kind of feels like a failure and like I got to start back over. And so now, even though Ella wakes up at the 9th hour and finding drawers under the bed, sniffing them, taking a shower while she's on the phone. I've never done that before. And all that. She walks out looking stunned.
Let me tell you.
I could never, first of all, walk down a New York City street in those shoes. But I think, is this realistic? I need to practice.
She looked real good, honey. For her not to, she didn't care.
She didn't have to do no hair neither.
No hair at all. She said that was her time to get fly, right? The time we spent doing our hair is the time that she spent picking out this complete outfit, looking fine on this first day of work. Ella wasn't checking for that job. Ella went out intentionally the night before. Ella got drunk. Ella went home, like Meek said, and she had on this one shoe when she fell in the bed. And she got up because her heart wasn't there because, again, she felt like she had in some way, shape, or form failed. And so I I think all of us can kind of relate to that a little bit, right? Kind of stepping out and thinking that this is going to be it. This is what you really want to do. I got it. And we think, whether it's in your career or in your personal life or whatever, right? You feel like this is it. This is my breakthrough, and it doesn't quite pin out the way that you thought it was going to, right? And so then you're left kind of feeling defeated, and having to go back and start over is very humbling. And she just wasn't.
It seemed like she went back to a former employer.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Highlights of my episode, Miss Erica Alexander.
Yes. So speaking of Living Single, Eric Alexander, who played Maxine on Living Single.
What's her name on the show? What's Erica's name on the show?
Her name is, oh Lord. Look.
Anyway, so Miss Alexander, Erica Alexander on the show is her boss, and it seems that she owns what's up, Chair? What's her name? Barb, yes. Mm-hmm. So Barb owns what seems to be like, or runs a gossip site or app or something of that nature, something like a shade room or something of that sort. And so she's bringing Ella back in to be a writer for that. And Ella feels like it's rock bottom. And my thing is this. An opportunity is an opportunity. Don't be looking a gift horse in the mouth. This woman didn't have to give you another. I felt like she showed up. Mm-hmm. She might not have said it, but her attitude was like, well, I'm here. You should have been there with donuts and coffee. I thank you for this opportunity. Mm-hmm. But maybe her and Barb had a connection where she didn't have to fake the funk with her. Mm-hmm. But she just did not seem like she appreciated the fact that even though it wasn't what she wanted, she still had something that could pay her bills.
Yeah. So I think one of the things that we discussed when we first watched this show that I definitely want to mention here is that looking at them and where their careers are, we automatically thought that they were much older than 31 and 32 years old. Because they seemed to be a little bit farther along in their careers than I guess our peers were at that age group, right? And so we're talking about our peers who are college graduates,
but they're in different careers too.
Yeah, they're in different careers that probably moved a little bit faster. And so for her to feel so defeated, like she got to this like fame at such a young age, right? And then she's dropped down really quick. To feel like she's just defeated was kind of surprising to me. But I think
no, it's not, Cherry. Think about our lives. When we say we're gonna go to college, we're gonna graduate at this time, we're gonna get married by this time, we're gonna get a house by this time, and we don't hit them milestones. We have looked at ourselves like, girl, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And looking back at that moment now, it's like, girl, that was nothing. Right. But I think it's natural to feel that way. Yeah.
You're right.
Because we know that every ending is just an opportunity for a new beginning. Now, it can be rock bottom in the end if you want it to be.
Right.
But it's all about how you look at that thing and spin that thing.
Mm-hmm. And start over. And I think this is maybe her first one. And so she doesn't have that yet, right? And so this is an opportunity for her to learn. She's going to look back and like you said, she's going to realize that she was ungrateful for the moment, but then realize that it was a fresh start for her to, maybe she need to go back. Maybe there's something there that she didn't learn or whatever the case may be, life lesson or whatever it is, to humble herself or whatever, right? And it's going to propel her to where she actually needs to be. So I think we're going to see Ella struggle with that a little bit throughout this. I think that's going to be her thing. Like she's going to struggle with the thought that she has failed in all actuality, right? And we're hoping that she grows to a place where she realized that wasn't a failure per se, but it was just a step to get her to where she needs to be.
And so on the other end of that, we have Miss Renee that we didn't get a lot of individual time with during this episode. Mm-hmm. And I have to be honest and say, Bresha Webb, who plays Renee, was one of my main reasons for being excited about this show. I have loved her since that girl on TV One. I said, yes, ma'am. Everything you do, I shall follow you, Miss Bresha.
She's dope.
So Bresha is at the bodega. I have always wanted to eat a sandwich at the bodega.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
I don't want to eat it. I want it.
Okay.
They make it sound so good. But anyway, she's at the bodega, order her sandwich. And this scene resonated with my spirit. And it resonated with my spirit because I can't remember it that instant, but it felt so familiar, which means this happens to me often, and I have just learned to ignore it. She has gotten there, placed her order, and this wonderful lady of a different hue has no respect for her personal space. And so she's on the phone with Ella, and she's proceeding to say, yeah, I mean, this lady is basically acting like I'm invisible, all in my space, and she's making snide comments. And so when she goes to grab her sandwich, when the guy says bacon and eggs, and the lady goes to grab it too, and she turns to say, I am a phenomenal woman. And like she said some other stuff, but like, see me, I'm here. And I think that I don't know what it is, but for some reason, no matter how articulate, no matter how pretty, no matter how dressed up we are invisible.
Absolutely.
And it's like, you don't want to be rude or mean but it got to her so much that she had to say something. It was like, it made for a very awkward moment because I can't even remember what was the old boy name behind the counter.
I don't know, the guy at the bodega.
But she said his name. He was like, yeah. So, but that was I felt her in this scene. And I felt her so much, I was like, I want to know what else is behind her.
Yeah, because we didn't get a lot from her, but I think that was like one of the funniest moments when she just bust out and quoted Maya Angelou's Phenomenal Woman at this lady directly in her face. And like you said, we've all, again, this show is really relatable. Even in the first episode, right? We've all experienced that. Like you said, a person of another hue.
They beautiful too, but you can't, don't do that to us.
Yes. I mean, literally, she was there, like standing in front of the counter. She kept bumping into her. She was saying, so she was like, excuse you. And the lady just kept doing whatever she was doing. And at this time, this is when she's on the phone with Ella, and Ella's getting dressed for work. So this is all happening at the same time. And Ella made a comment. She said, the whites can't see us. So, I mean, it's not, it's a shame, right? That we have to be like sometimes, hey, like, do you see me? But it was hilarious that she started quoting Phenomenal Woman, but that the way that she reacted to it, even her embarrassment afterwards when she realized that she just completely made a scene, does make you want to get to know her, because she seems like the funny, spunky one out the group. And so it's going to be interesting to get to know her backstory.
Yes, and so lastly, it leads us to Miss Whitney. And so Miss Whitney is getting her paleo on. What is that called, child? What's the bike there? Peloton.
Peloton. Oh, she made me want to do that Peloton. So
she is on there. She has worked up a sweat, and she is not here for her mama, who calls her about this wedding and additional guests that she ain't heard about in 10 years. And while she's on the phone with her mom, that call is interrupted by a call for work. So we quickly can kind of gather that she is in a committed relationship, going towards marriage, super successful because her apartment is really nice. She has work calling her before she gets to work. So she seems to have it together. What's your first impression of Whitney?
That she's stressed out. And that she functions at a stress level, right? Like, she's one of those people who are always a doer. and people like that are tend to be people pleasers. And she's at a point that she's stressed out and she's probably going to break at some point. So she seems to seemed to me when I first met her that she's the friend that kind of always has to have everything together.
I didn't like her from how she talked to her mom. I didn't like it. Like, why you all short with her and stuff? Like, no, I'm just playing. But yeah, I didn't really care for that. It made me seem like she was the bougie one and the one that I'm gonna roll my eyes at.
Absolutely, she seemed bougie. Absolutely, she seemed like a people pleaser. When I think the soft part of her made me think that maybe she's a people pleaser, but she has this high stress life. And it seems like she's high stress because she chooses to be high stress, and I don't even think that at this point she knows that it's a choice. She's just operating like that. She's played by Amber Stephen West, which is another person I love. I love her. So she was I do. The last thing I think she was in was the Carmichael Show, or the last thing I've seen her in was the Carmichael Show.
That's the only thing I know her from. What else?
She's been in several things that I like, and I always like her. I like she has a great singing voice too, so I like the in between. So I was excited when I saw her too in the show, and I was like, oh, it's gonna be good. So her character, she just seems like. And then when we see her later, they're at a bar doing. Are they stuffing the invitation, like sending off the invitation? They stay in this bar because who does that at the bar?
You child. Is
that a normal thing?
For these 300 invitations. And so she's complaining. See, this is what solidifies me not caring for her. Yeah. So she's complaining about the wedding. Here's my thing, and what I remind people: this is supposed to be the happiest time of your life.
Yeah.
If you're going through agony planning, then you need to reassess some things, because that shouldn't be your energy planning for one of the biggest transitions and most positive transitions of your life. So then she proceeds to say it's no longer her wedding, and it's for her mom and her society women and her new mother-in-law and all these people. And she has to wear African garb, and their color is blue and brown. And I got to wear a do-rag on my head. And it's like,
that was insulting.
That was super insulting.
It was insulting.
I'm not super familiar with Nigerian culture.
Right.
Ma'am. And even when her girls corrected her, like, ma'am, it's more like a crown.
Right.
And so she kind of softened when she said that. And so Sunday is there, and she makes a little snide remark about something Sunday said she liked. And they was like, girl, she calling you basic. Sunday
talking about the fish, girl.
Yeah, she said, I'm gonna exit stage left because my boo has a talk. I'm going to go, and that's when Renee made to come in like, he showed talk, do this essay like he wrote a book.
I love Renee. So
I love Renee. And go ahead, Cherry.
I think Whitney. So again, I think a lot of that is stress brought on from her being a people pleaser, right? This is like you said, this is your wedding. This is your time to be happy. If you don't like something that's going on, then you say it and you change it, right? But I could just imagine her in that scene that she's venting to her friends, because I too am guilty of that, right? You do all of these things because you feel obligated to do it, or you feel like you have to do it or whatever, right? And then you're venting to your friends and it comes off a little bit, I don't know, kind of bougie, kind of whatever. Yes. But in front of them, I can imagine that she's just saying, okay, with the smile on her face, right? And nobody knows that this is an issue except her mom, right? Because it seems like she has that, she's not going to say anything. She's going to say what she needs to say to her mom a little bit, or at least be rude about it and not be passive aggressive. That's what it seems like she is. She's passive aggressive with her mom.
Absolutely. So I think she passive aggressive with everybody because Cherry, you know this. When people don't want to do stuff, they don't necessarily have to cuss you out for you to realize they don't want to do it.
Yeah.
You know, they're there, but they seem like they checked out. She seems like a check out one, like a Stepford wife.
I don't think that's her though. I think that she is going to be very like, okay, it's fine. We can do it, especially with her in-laws. She's not going to act like it's a problem.
We're going to see, Cherry. We're going to see. So when Sunday leaves, I'm trying not to call this woman Sunday. When Sunday leaves,
Sunday.
Ella says, hey, I got to go do this Soldier Boy party or whatever. And so Whitney's like, what does it mean? But Renee and Whitney agreed to go with her.
Mm-hmm.
So they go get jazzy and they step out. I said, okay.
Mm-hmm. They cute. Fashion on this show is nice. All of them dress extremely nice. And I love the optics of shows. I love the Harlem walking down the streets. I love the billboards and the statues.
Walk down the street on the same leg. We gotta be like, okay, left leg in 3.
Yes. And we're gonna have to do it. We're gonna step on out. I don't know where we're going. We ain't going to no club, but I don't know.
No, we're gonna go to the T-bar.
Yes.
Yes. But, so that was cool. They go to the club, and as soon as they step in, and then I think on the marquee it says Legends Party, or so when they walk in, they like, oh my God, it's 2006. So apparently everybody that was popping back then is in the club.
Right.
And so Whitney makes her way to the bar, and Ella and Renee make their way to VIP to holler at Soldier. So when they make it there, they realize it's easy for them to get past the rope. We cute, we fly, what's up? So one of Ella's old colleagues kind of come to the rope, a guy, and he's like, oh, they cool, let them in. But then the bouncer kindly lets them know, hey, Soldier said that y'all a little too mature to come in here. And so they're like, who? And so they get in. And so they walk out, and I love this part. I think because I come off as a little bit more reserved, I love people who are just buck and just have fun. And so when Renee hit that dance floor, I was like, I live for it, because I would never do that. Like, I would have to be tipsy. Tipsy with my friends in VIP at the club to do what she would do. Like, I could never just be in the club sober and just but I loved it. I was like, oh my God, it looked like she's having so much fun. So you can take it from here, Chia.
So this club scene was a bit much. So Renee is living her best life, and it was amazing. Like Mika said, it was amazing. I did not think she was just gonna start dancing with old dude like that. Like, she was like back like she was in 2006 for real. But it was refreshing to see. Her character is just refreshing altogether. And so then we get to Whitney and Ella standing there together. And Whitney is eyeing this guy who's eyeing her. And mind you, again, like we said, Whitney is engaged, planning a whole wedding. They were just sitting earlier, sending off wedding invitations. And Ella is kind of explaining to her, like, oh, this dude, he's community peen. Like, he's for these streets, right? And so now she's questioning out loud, like, you know,
not only is he for the streets, he done been with the whole crew.
The whole crew, everybody, right? 2014, 2015, 2016. He done slept with everybody else except her. And so now we hear Whitney questioning out loud, like, I'm intrigued by this. I kind of thinking in her head, but out loud, right? That I never got to experience this. And now I'm going to marry this man who I've been through all through college. And so that's another thing that we see about Whitney. So we get to see this kind of passive aggressiveness, this bouginess about her, which is not all bad, right? Bougie doesn't equal bad, but we see these things about her. And then now we see her questioning whether or not she's going to be loyal to this man that she's been with all this time, that she's getting ready to marry.
Now, what's powerful about that was in that statement, she was like, I'm realizing that I spent all of my 20s effing and, doing all this stuff for this man that was my college sweetheart. Mm-hmm. And I'm standing here like considering, why haven't I experienced that? Mm-hmm. To go along with the people pleaser aspect of her personality, she was probably really encouraged to go to college, meet your husband, mm-hmm. get married straight out of college, start a family. And everybody knows that I am not a proponent of young love. Mm-hmm. I think that it's okay to like people in high school and college, but I think it's more important to date. Not sleep around, but date. Mm-hmm. Because in dating different people, you learn what you like and don't like. Mm-hmm. Now, check this. You have an idea before you ever date what you kind of like and what you don't like. But once you start dating, you realize, okay, what I thought I couldn't stand, I can kind of tolerate. And what I thought I could tolerate is an absolute deal breaker for me. Mm-hmm. That's what you learn. You learn what you like. If in high school or college, you get one person and stick with them, then you don't learn it. You just kind of learn to not tolerate, but you learn to like, and you learn it
to that relationship. That's how you're growing.
Yeah, mm-hmm. Yeah. So it does leave some questions as you get older, whereas other people have experienced things, you haven't. So it leaves that room of what if. Mm-hmm. And it's some relationships that are great that starting in high school and college. Because I know my mother-in-law and my late father-in-law got married super young, like mm-hmm. teen, and they were married till he passed away.
Yeah,
but it's a flip to that as well. What were you gonna say, Cherry?
No, I wasn't gonna say anything. You're doing great.
Okay, so mm-hmm. So yeah, I just feel like doing the whole wedding planning process and hearing that I ain't even realized this dude was on the radar and all y'all done been with him. Where have I been? Mm-hmm. What am I doing? He kind of eyeing me. This is different because she probably hasn't dated that many people. So the whole feel, it's a feeling meeting somebody, liking them and kind of flirt. Like people tend to desire that. That's kind of where relationships and marriages kind of start getting stale because they miss the newness. So mm-hmm. That's why you constantly have to do new things and do things to create a spark. So it seems like she's kind of going into that right before the wedding. So she remains there. Renee leaves her there. No, Ella.
I'm not going to listen to you complain about your perfect life while I'm going to go over here and cry my eyes out. Because what are you complaining about, ma'am?
Now, this next part. So Ella is in line to go to the bathroom. And I done been here and like, you standing behind somebody and you like, I know exactly who this is from behind. And so she kind of look him up and down and look to the side. And what's his name with his fine self?
With his fine self?
I don't like him, but he's fine.
Oh, no, not that you don't like him. So he is Jason? Is he Jason? No, that's Renee's husband. Nick.
I don't think his name is Nick. I can't even type. I done went blank.
I think his name is Nick.
Anyway, so she's looking at him. Is it Louis? Is his name? Oh, that's his name. Anderson Lewis is his name on there. I done gave him a little Anderson.
Who the heck is Nick? I don't know what it is. Okay.
His name. So she like, Anderson, sorry y'all for that brain fart that we both had. Sorry. So, okay. So, yeah. So he turns around and we quickly realize that Anderson is a blast from the past. Mm-hmm. But he's very much so like, you're back? You couldn't call me and tell me you back? So it's big, you left me energy going on. Mm-hmm. So my favorite name comes up. This is me in this moment. Satan.
That is Mika, you guys. So let me tell you something. If any part of this show so far in the first episode that I saw my friend, that was it. They walking from behind Ella and like, Satan? Why are we talking to him? It's time to go. See you later.
I'm a protector. So anyway, and she basically like, what in the world? Where have you come from? Can you please go back?
Mm-hmm.
He's super apologetic for not calling her, and oh, it's nice to see you. And they begin to kiss, which I don't understand. I think boundaries are super important. And if somebody has hurt you, you need to govern yourself accordingly. I feel like, cool, we can talk about it. But men are very much so like, oh, we kissed and we straight. You know what I mean? And so it was interesting that she allowed him to kiss her, but she cut it off. Mm-hmm. She cut the kiss off abruptly and left, but she didn't leave. She tapped old boy from VIP on the shoulder, like, let's share a cab. And see, somebody saying, let's share a cab home. I would have thought, okay, we just gonna split the cost. But he knew that she meant it was about to go down. And I was like, okay, so he took his shot and they leave and they go to his spot where the mattress is on the floor. First of all, they was being so disrespectful in that man Uber. Because I would have been like, if any piece of bodily fluid is left on my back seat, y'all getting a $200 fee. It's probably more expensive in New York. But anyway, so they get to his home and they're attempting to do the grown folks business, but they are unable to because he's too intoxicated. Mm-hmm. So she leaves, she ends up leaving. To me, clearly, she was attempting to have sex with him to release some of the frustration and all of that stuff she experienced from seeing Anderson. And I feel like it was in her very best interest that he was unable to provide that for her. Because I don't think, although she felt like that's what she needed in her moment, I don't think that's what she needed. What you think, Chief?
I think the same thing. I think with these shows, unlike the shows like Living Single and the things that we had like in the early 90s or late 90s, when we see shows that are about women, Black women particularly, we see them exploring their sexuality a little bit more, right? And so you always have that friend who's very open to have sex whenever, whatever, and it's not a big deal to her, and it's not particularly what her other friends would do, but it's just who she is. And that scene from that episode, it seems like from that situation, it seemed like that's what that she was coping with seeing Anderson by having sex. And so that seems to be her go-to coping mechanism when it comes to her emotions being high. I think that, Mika, you're very good at boundaries, amazing at boundaries. That's why she teaches this thing, guys. But for the rest of us,
it's difficult. I acknowledge that it's hard when you love somebody.
It is, and so she's dealing with all of these feelings that she's had over these years, right? You can tell immediately the way that they were looking at each other. There was a strong connection before he left. You could tell the sadness, you can tell the excitement, you can tell the fear, all of that from her words, her cadence, all of those things, that all of those emotions were coming up all at once. When you see someone, especially when you don't know that they're going to be there, it'd be different if she had a heads up, like he's in town, you may run into him, such as she did not know. So it was almost like she's staring at a ghost, right? Somebody who had left and had no contact with her. And so love, right, is the overwhelming feeling of all. And so it was not foreign to me. You so silly, Meek. It wasn't foreign to me for her to kiss him, but then tap into her boundaries like, nah, bruh, you tripping, let me step back. But then she went and did something counterproductive, like try to go cope with her feelings by having sex with this guy.
And I think I'm weird because I feel like it should be different boundaries based upon who you are. And with him just being an ex-boyfriend, it's like, oh, it'll be different if it was like a husband where that's the next episode. But anyway, we're gonna get to that. But we all in episode 2 and we still on episode 1. But so I do understand. I know it's easier said than done. And you do kind of paint a better picture when you say this was like instinctual, plus she had been drinking.
Mm-hmm.
It was like solely in the moment. So.
And she had a really hard day with this being her first day at work. So all of these things, and then to see somebody who she obviously loved, and it seemed like he had some level of love for her, right? Or at least their physical attraction was like intense, or the chemistry was intense. It wasn't surprising that she kissed him, but I was really happy that she was like, bruh, and was able to cut it off. Something clicked in her head. So, and that left him shocked. So he was really shocked by that. The fact that she was like, no, which was surprising to me because you've left. Why are you shocked? And I'm like, no, I don't.
Because he felt like he had that much power over her. Mm-hmm. It's like men be feeling like they had, because she allowed him kissing her was a test to see where she was mentally. So he automatically thought she kissing me back. We here. Mm-hmm. And for her to do that, it's like, oh, we're not there. Mm-hmm. It's like they operate different from us, which is why we probably have to operate differently because of how they operate.
Sure.
So we're still on Ella. Who else we got? Okay, so Ella ends up leaving that guy's house. Mm-hmm. And she goes to Sunday's apartment. Mm-hmm. Because she's not at the house or she's at her own apartment. And so she goes in and they kind of chit chat and she's like, I'm just really nervous. I need to be around somebody else while I upload this article. And so my thing is like, how did you even know she was there? Like, it's a blessing she was there, but I thought that was interesting that she just showed up and not 100% knew that she would be there. But, and so when she uploads it, she's kind of getting an update on what happened with her night. So she's letting her know that they kind of got into an argument. Mm-hmm. And, you know, it is what it is. And then she informs her that Anderson is back. Mm-hmm. And she didn't know he was back and all of that. And as she's chatting, she looks down and realizes her article on Soulja Boy is trending #1. Mm-hmm. So we flip very quickly back to Whitney, who is alone in a room.
Whitney, that baby. Girl, so what are you doing?
With no clothes on. And we look up and it's community ping.
Community ping.
And so they kind of give each other the, hey, what's up now? And she lays back down. And at first, when she lays down, it's kind of like she has a look of, woo, this is exciting. I can't believe I did it. And then almost a look of doom immediately. Mm-hmm. I literally felt like she flushed her life down the toilet.
Crazy. I don't, it's what we do in reaction to just feelings, right? Without letting them sit and being rational, just going off impulse, right? Just impulsivity. And that was just an impulsive move for her, just off curiosity, of whatever feelings that she had. What that did do for me is solidify that she don't need to be getting married.
And for me,
you need to chill.
I feel like as adults, we have the right to sleep with whomever, whenever. I'm not, judging her for that, so to speak, but because of her personality, I feel like that choice is going to drive her insane because she comes off as such a goody. Mm-hmm. She's not going to be able to handle the guilt and everything that comes mm-hmm. along with it. On top of this, it has been made known that he is community ping girl, it's real diseases out here.
Every day, right?
I'm about to get married. So that's another thing that made me nervous. I'm like, girl, how careful were you? Now, something I wanted to add, that is the first episode.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day, we didn't leave the club without everybody.
No.
So everybody just went home on their own. It ain't no way that either of us could have been with me. Because they would have been like, no, we gonna walk home. We going here.
Yep. We didn't do that. That wasn't a thing. Maybe because we don't club at 30 and 31. Maybe it's different when you're 30 and 31 and you clubbing and you got everybody got a job, and so you got to go home at different times. I don't know what that felt like because I haven't clubbed
at the same time, because I don't want you to end up in somebody's duffel bag.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. So you guys let us know if that's a thing. Like, now that you're older and you go into the club, is that a thing that everybody just leaves on their own? Because you're right. Because even back in the day, if somebody snuck off and went with a guy, right? I'm going to this guy. We knew who you were going with and where. And so if it was a bad decision, we were able to say, hey, you might not want to do that. Or if you were like, if it was a really bad decision, no, she ain't going with you. She going home with us.
Drinking, like, I just feel like that was bad girl code. Because even now, when I meet my friends out for drinks and stuff, we all walk out together.
Yeah.
It's definitely big text me when you get home energy.
Yeah.
Like, you're grown, you can decide to do whatever you want to do after we leave. But as far as you leaving with a random.
Yeah. I felt so
like, if my friend, we was about to leave, my friend like, I'm going home with him, I wouldn't say no.
Right.
But I'm looking at you and who you going home.
Right.
So if something happened, old boy had on this, he looked like this. Opposed to, I don't have no clue what time she left or who she was. It's about that. I don't care what you do with your life. I care about your safety though. So I thought that was weird in New York.
Yeah, I don't know. You guys let us know if that's a thing, like other people do that, and maybe it's just us that don't do that. But I definitely was very disappointed in her decision to do that, because it was very much impulse. It was very much whatever. And like you said, because she's a people pleaser, it's going to eat her up. And she's going to feel like she's going to have to tell him. She's going to feel like she's going to have to, like, she's going to tell her friends, like, it's not something, she doesn't have the type of personality where she's able to keep it to herself, which she shouldn't anyway, because she shouldn't have did it. But now you have to deal with the repercussions of having somebody who loves you, right? And then you're doing something like this instead of just going to him and say, you know what, I don't think that I'm ready. Because I'm going to him to say, and I don't think that I'm ready yet. I don't think that this is going to work. We need to kind of back off. I'm questioning some things. Let's try to figure this out, right? Opposed to you going to him and be like, I cheated because I was trying to figure some things out. That is a whole different story and a whole different reaction, especially from a man. So good luck, Whitney.
We haven't met her boo yet.
Huh?
We meet her boo in episode 1.
Nope, not yet.
So it's interesting to see him and his personality. I guess we'll have a better idea of how they might go down. But that concludes episode 1 of Run the World. So if you all have not checked it out, check it out. We need comment. Let us know if you agree or disagree. Please disagree. We like to hear different opinions and I'm in the late 30s age group. So maybe we do things a little bit differently than people in their earlier 30s. So I might be out the loop with it. But one thing Terry and I both mentioned about the show, it didn't align. Like, they seem much younger than what they're supposed to be in the show. Like, personality-wise, they seem way more immature than 30. Do they behave like 20-year-olds to you, 20-something?
I think what we were saying was their reactions to problem situations.
Yeah.
Right? It just doesn't seem, they seem a little immature, emotionally immature. So yeah, but I think maybe it's because this is the first episode and we're just watching them develop, maybe we'll get a different perspective of them. This first episode left a lot to wonder about, right? They did a really good job, because what I'm expecting is going to happen is that they're going to continue to open them up. And so they're just opening up the characters or developing the characters very slowly. And this was a good, like, clean, crisp introduction to them with not a lot of details or background information. So maybe that's why the opinion developed like that after the first episode, that they seem a lot immature when it comes to their problem solving advice and all of that stuff.
Okay. Well, I can't wait to chat about the second episode, but like we said, super important that y'all like this video.
Comment.
Yes, and comment and support us, because we will always support you. So thank you all for watching our very first episode. We will get better as we go. This is new for both of us, so I'm super excited.
Yeah. Thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate you. Like Mika said, like, comment, and subscribe to our channel, and we will see you guys on next week.
Bye, y'all.